Hey YouTube, today I'm going to do a little fun comparison and I'm going to compare a Colt to a Smith and Wesson. So before I get started, I'm going to let you know that neither one of these revolvers have anything in them and we are clear to make this video. So the topic of the day is a factory made blued revolver versus a Heinz 57 revolver. And when I say a Heinz 57 revolver, talking about one that we sort of saved. It was kind of a piece of junk when I got it, and we did a few things with it to make it look a little bit more appealing, and how it stacks up next to a quality, quote unquote, collectible, well-made revolver from, the 1980s or so. So the two we're going to compare is, first, we'll start off with this one. This is a Smith and Wesson 586, and this happens to be a 586-4, and this is the first year that they went to the round butt configuration. This is when they started changing things up a little bit. Still a pre-lock, still has the color case hardened trigger and hammer, has the firing pin on the hammer, and has the adjustable sights and all that. This is when they first started getting away from the square butts going to the round butts. So it has a nice set of combat grips on it. Very good action because this one's been worked over a little bit. So the single action is very light and the double action is smooth all the way through, and it has been lightened up. But it seems to be a fan favorite when I show this gun and use it as comparisons, but this is a very beautiful finish on this thing. It's a 4-inch configuration 357 Magnum, full underlug. These came out in 1980, and these were to compete with the Colt Python, and it's a mid-size, mid-frame 357 Magnum, a little bit bigger than the K-frame, a little bit more robust with this full underlug and this heavier duty frame. But factory gun, nothing done to it besides the action work, and we're going to see how it stacks up. As you can see, this finish is very shiny on this thing, and it looks really good. So the one we're going to compare it next to is a Colt, and this one here, this one here has a story behind it. I've shown it a couple times, but this is one of the ones that people will cringe that don't know anything about firearms, and you go to these gun shows and you see the box Nazis there with their Colts all sitting in the box and never been fired condition and all that stuff that they like to talk about and everything. Well, this here started off as a 1960s Colt Trooper 38 Special, and it was nickel plated when I got it. I do not know if it was nickel plated from the factory or not. I know the nickel plating that was on it was not factory, and it was in terrible condition. It was pitted and flaking off everywhere, and I got it for next to nothing. I have hardly anything in it. So what I did is I put a older Colt Python barrel on it. As you can see, the roll marks are a little thin, but it says Colt Python on it, and put a different hammer in it. It's got a wide spurred hammer on it now, and we converted it over to a 357 Magnum, folks. It is now a 357 Magnum. I don't know if this will show up on camera or not, but a special tool has been used going through these cylinders, and a lot of stuff done to it to make it a 357 Magnum. It also has adjustable sights on the front and rear, and this action has been done when it was put together, and man, is it smooth. I mean, it is absolutely Colt smooth. So it actually feels exactly like a Colt Python, the action on it. Now, these grips came from a company called Boone Trading Company, and they are simulated ivory, whatever you want to call them. They're not real ivory, but they're synthetic ivory. So I thought they would look really cool. So nothing on this gun's factory. If you look at this one here, everything on this gun's factory. It looks really cool and everything. Really good finish. This one here had a very comparable to Gunsmith. Duplicate this blue on it. So it is absolutely has the Colt Royal Blue on it. And just has everything different. It has a different hammer, has a different barrel, has different grips, but Very cool, and it's a different caliber than it came. So which one of these is better, folks, when you're looking at them? Well, if you look at the grand scheme of things, it's all in personal preference of which one you think's better. So you're going to pay a little bit of a premium for these factory older Smith and Wessons because people quote unquote collect them, and you're gonna have to pay a little bit for them, but it's really not that much more than if you went and bought a brand new one. And these things are so much better made than the new ones. I don't see why anybody would buy a new one. I would just be patient, sit there and look for one of these older ones that has cool grips and doesn't have the lock on them. It has all the forged parts in them instead of the newer stuff. Doesn't have a sleeve barrel or anything like that on it. I would go looking for this one, and they're not too terribly expensive. Smith and Wesson can be purchased for a very reasonable price for what you get into them, and you put a little bit of action work into them. You have one of the top-notch revolvers, and one of the things people look for is this little firing pin on them on the hammer, and I've never understood why, but that's important to Smith and Wesson people. Or you can go the other route, and you can go get a gun that needs to be saved, and that's what I did with this. You get a very poor condition gun like this Trooper here, and you use your imagination. Now you have to have either a very skilled gunsmith, or you have to be very skilled yourself, and you sit there and you piece it together and you come out with something like this. Now, I'm the one that thought up how to put these ivory grips on this thing. I knew I wanted to make it a 357 Magnum. I thought it would look better with a full underlug Python barrel on it. It gives it that profile that everything looks at, and I wanted a large spur hammer on it, so we had to figure that out. That one wasn't very easy and have that fitted into it. Now, what makes this different than a Colt Python, and people will like this that are Smith & Wesson people, this one has a firing pin on the hammer, and a true Colt Python does not have. It's a frame-mounted firing pin. So this is actually a Heinz 57, put together, pieced together. Don't know what it really is, but we call it a 1960s Colt Trooper, and it's really cool because it kind of looks like a Python. Has a lot of the characteristics of a Smith & Wesson with the firing pin mounted on the hammer. And when you look at that cost, it's probably going to be about the same, folks. Now, if you were to go to a collector show and you wanted to flip firearms and get top dollar for it, well, this one's definitely going to be the one that's going to sell better, because people are going to know what this is. It's going to be all looked up in the blue book of guns, and you can find them on Gunbroker. This one here is going to be the only one that exists, and to be honest with you, I think it's a better looking gun, but this one is yours. You made this. You came up with this out of your imagination, and you pieced it together, and you made it yourself. Now, if you buy firearms for what you're supposed to, to enjoy them, shoot them, and have what you want, this one's probably the way to go. But if you're one of these people that's going to sit there and sit stuff away and hope that it's going to be worth more in the future and use this as an investment, which, by the way, I'm going to tell you is a bad idea, this one's going to be the way to go, because this is a true factory-made gun that they don't make anymore. So it's your choice, folks, but I'm telling you, you do things what you want to do. You don't do things what the internet tells you to do, or what box Nazis at gun shows and stuff tell you to do. This is a really cool gun that I made myself, pieced it together, came up with it out of my head, what I wanted it to look like, and it looks nothing like what it originally did. So, choice is yours. 2 blue 357s. One of them's a pieced together one that a gun collector would say is worthless, and the other one is a factory made gun that is a collector's dream, I guess you could say. So anyway, folks, you got any questions on either one of these? I have videos on each one of them, and thank you very much for watching my video today, and you folks have a great day.